of rides are gone, or they get replaced with other rides because people get tired of it. You will never get tired of riding the Cyclone. I have ridden it well over 2,000 times. I am still here. My back feels great, and it is a fantastic ride.
She's a landmark. She's number one.
It is the international symbol, if you will, of what a roller coaster is.
It's a treasure. It's a treasure of Coney Island. It's really our jewel.
All the wooden roller coasters kind of ride the same. This one is unique, so it's like, it's Brooklyn.
Thank God we have her. 90 years. Happy birthday, Cyclone.
Coney Island is not just an amusement park. Coney Island invented the amusement park. America, in its capitalist democracy in the early 1800s, broke with the European traditions, and they created popular culture where middle-class people take their extra earnings and purchase culture. They invent amusement parks to have the people's fun, not the king's fun, not the queen's fun, not the church's fun, just what people want. And in Coney Island, that translates into eating clams on the half shell, drinking beer, enjoying that magical place where the ground meets the water with seagulls pooping overhead. People are in this growing metropolis of New York City, riding the subways, but then for fun they get on something like a subway, except it's more dangerous and banking curves, and isn't it all wonderful? And it had to begin someplace.
As far as designated spots or historical places, a lot of people don't know this, but this original spot was where the first roller coaster was in the United States.
1884, LaMarcus Thompson builds the Switchback Railway. Now, you would not be particularly finding a thrilling ride today by roller coaster standards, but that gets roller coasters going. In the 1920s, that begins with the Thunderbolt roller coaster in 1920. It was a great roller coaster, but within a few years, the Tornado, an incredible roller coaster, and the Cyclone, perhaps the greatest roller coaster of ever. The perfection of the wooden roller coaster is built in 1927, all right here in Coney Island.
Or riding to the top of the park to see the whole show, only to face a vertical drop of 90 feet. Some scream, some grow pale, but everybody shouts. It never seems to end.
Coney Island opens up today. The winter is over. It's time for fun and play. All the kids are glad, and us grown-ups too. We'll go on all the rides before the day is through. I just can't wait to go on the Cyclone. Coney Island.
For 5 years being the first one online, I really want to get the tattoo. Personally, for myself, I went and got the tattoo the night before. It was a spur-of-the-moment thing, and I don't know, it just turned out to be the biggest thing in Coney Island that year that Mr. Cyclone was born.
Right, one of my first dates, I came here with my husband. That's before I was even started working here, and we rode the Cyclone 7 times in a row.
We were quite terrified from the steepness of the drop. You know, we thought that was it. It was going to be our faces of death moment right there.
I was 13 years old. I was terrified of roller coasters. I forced myself to get on. I just had to ride it. Like all my friends rode it, and then I rode it that one time. And it beat me up. I wasn't even in the very back or the very front. I was kind of in the middle because I didn't want to get beat up, but I still got beat up. And then after that I was hooked.
I laughed for a good half hour nonstop after I got off. And after that, I just rode it and rode it and rode it.
For 2 years, I had a store underneath the Cyclone. I would see people getting off the ride, and as they turned that corner, I would see their faces. And there was, you know, smiles of joy. And then there were people that were just as white as a ghost after they got off it.
And they asked me, is it safe? That's the question that's asked the most. And I kind of laugh, and I give them a maniacal laugh because I want to put a little fear into them. And I'm like, yes, it is safe.
I was not a roller coaster fan. I was one of those people who would fight a roller coaster, try and hold on, and if you try and hold on, your muscles get pulled, and I was afraid of them, and it wasn't until a good friend of mine, a little inebriated, put me on the Cyclone roller coaster, and he whispered into my ear as we were going up the lift hill, and he said, "Trust the ride." So I put my hands over my head. I did not hold on. I did not strain and struggle. And most important, I did not fall out and die. And ever since then, wow, I love sitting in that first car with my hands over my head.
The world famous Cyclone, everybody rides the greatest ride of all.
Also, when you ride the Cyclone, you got to have a favorite car you ride in.
First car is always my favorite because I love looking down that first hill. It still has a little bit of an intimidation factor when it's making that clicking sound when you're going up that first hill, whether it's the first time you've ridden it or the 100th time.
If you sit in the front, you really get this feeling of being pushed up the hills. But if you sit in the back, you are getting dragged down the hills, and that is a very intense feeling.
I like the first row and the last car, and I like that because you still get a lot of air time, you still get thrown around, you get a little beat up, but you don't get beat up as in the very, very last bench. The last bench right now, if you catch it on the right day, that thing is gonna toss you around, and hurt you. Got my seat. I got my seat. I got my seat. Now when I come over the top, I'm gonna be somewhat quiet and enjoy another ride on the historic Coney Island Cyclone. Here she comes, folks. Here she comes, people! Just try to take in that moment, try to forget everything, and then get the brain ready for some fun.
The Cyclone is one of the few roller coasters that are left from the 1920s. It still has the wild ride that so many roller coasters did offer in the 1920s, which was somewhat of the heyday of wooden roller coasters. It still runs its original rolling stock from 1927. It gives you a real feel, and unlike a lot of modern roller coasters where it has very fast pacing, the Cyclone really tells a story. You have a chance to catch your breath between each drop, and it's really a piece of a living history.
We are in what I call the heart of the Cyclone, which is the Cyclone motor room, which is the brain and the heart of the Cyclone. So basically, we have these motors over here. You see these two red motors that are the original Cyclone motors, and they feed the wheel, which is the original Cyclone wheel, the belt, which drives the coaster up on the lift, and then of course gravity takes it from there. Everything has its original components, except of course with the belt, which has been replaced. We replace the belt almost every single year.
Things that they built back in the day, they made to last. Compared to the things that they built today, after your 90-day warranty, you'd be lucky if even works the day after.
We're riding a roller coaster that's almost completely refurbished. I mean, I watched them for the past 4 years. They replaced the section of the track, and you can see that the track right here, this section is brand new. I swear to God, the ride is back up to the speed that it's supposed to be. It is so smooth now. You know, years ago, everybody was like, ride it because it felt risky and dilapidated. Well, let me tell you something. You got to come and ride it now. You will not recognize this ride. It's like brand new, brand new.
We're gonna go back around so we can do the back car instead of the front.
I haven't ridden a roller coaster in a long time, so I kind of forgot what it feels like when you're like going down and you come out of the seat a little bit and you're like not sure if you're gonna fly away.
Exactly, I'm definitely losing my voice.
Yeah.
That was so crazy. I was like going down the ride and I was like, when is this gonna end? Because it felt short, right?
Yes.
It felt like it was short.
Locked back into a little area for sure.
That's the reaction.
She will always take care of me, and it's just so, it's right here. That's the best part. It's right here. I don't have to go really far for it. And I think I feel lucky actually to live in South Brooklyn, so close to the ride. I could go to whenever I want, because I know there are people all around the world who look at this thing and they're obsessed with it and they have dreams about it. Here it is in my backyard, so I cherish it.
Cyclone is more than a landmark. It's more than the king of the wooden roller coasters. The Cyclone is a testament of the genius. This is the first roller coaster where they really mastered everything.
When I consider that my grandfather and my mom and my aunt rode the Cyclone, and then, you know, I'm third generation, and when my daughter is old enough, she will ride the Cyclone with me as well. So it'll be here forever, I hope.
It is the sound, it is the look, it is the location, it is the smell, it is the sound of that chain pulling you up the hill. It is the surroundings of where you are once you get off. It is the quality of the hot dog you ate once you throw it up. It is all through and through authentic, genuine New York City, Coney Island. The Cyclone, ladies and gentlemen.